Welcome back. This morning in our Sunday Spotlight, the UConn men's basketball program earns the distinction of being one of the nation's magnificent 7 teams. That's according to Mark Mehler and Jeff Taberry, co-authors of the just-released book, The Magnificent 7, College Basketball's Blue Bloods. This morning, Mark Mehler joins us to offer his take on UConn's place among the greatest teams in NCAA history. Mark, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I read the book. It's great. If you're a college basketball fan, you're going to love this book. And I loved that UConn was the first chapter. Anyone who's on social media, especially UConn social media, knows anytime you mention UConn being a blue blood, you get all sorts of pushback from people in Kansas and Indiana and other places that say they are the blue bloods. You say that's nonsense.
Yeah, well, I think they're actually, I think UConn is a super blue blood. 6 titles in 25 years. I think they're a mini dynasty, really. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in this tournament. I wouldn't rule them out. But no, they are most definitely blue blood. The blue blood cutoff in the book was you have to have won at least 4 titles over a period of at least 3 decades. That was and seven programs meet that criteria. There are a couple who came close, Villanova and Louisville, but otherwise, it's those 7.
Well, I read it and I saw the selection criteria. Now, I have to tell you, I sort of skimmed over the Duke chapter. I wasn't all that interested in the Duke chapter, but I was fascinated by your criteria. And you had a quote in there from James Naismith, the inventor of basketball. He said, the game had its origins in Massachusetts, but Indiana remains the center of the sport. Now, he said that a long, long time ago, but I was just so interested because Indiana is one of the blue bloods, but they haven't won since 1987. So it's kind of a different thing than what UConn's experiencing right now.
Yeah, I guess it's been a long, dry stretch for IU, but their achievements are tremendous. I mean, they have 5 titles, I believe. Yeah, 5 over several decades, and they'll be back. They are a blue blood, no question.
I want to ask you, there were so many interesting facts, things that I didn't know, and I want to get some of your things that you were so interested to find out in all your research. But, some of the things here, there was a thing about John Wooden. Everyone calls him the Wizard of Westwood. It was a phone outage that caused that to happen. He wanted to go to Minnesota, right? He didn't even want to be there.
I'm sorry?
He didn't even want to go to UCLA, and he ended up out there because the phones were out, and he didn't know Minnesota wanted to hire him. He would have taken that job.
Exactly. It's a good story. He was negotiating with the University of Minnesota to go there, and they had it all set up. They were going to call him back and say, you got the job, but the phone lines went down in Minnesota. There was a storm or something, and he had the UCLA offer on the table. He was coaching at Indiana Teachers College, and he took the UCLA job and when Minnesota called him and said, no, you got the job. Well, he's John Wooden, and he's not going to renege on a commitment. And the rest is history.
Wow, yeah, amazing stuff. And some of the details, I mean, he was so attentive to detail. He had a certain way he wanted the players to tie their sneakers to avoid bunions. Just an amazing thing. You had in there that Kentucky last had losing seasons during the pandemic, but not COVID. The pandemic in 1918 was the last time they had consecutive losing seasons. That's amazing. I want to ask you about a couple of the UConn facts, things I didn't know. UConn had a 1900 to 1915, they had no coach, and they still went over 500. The no coach period wasn't bad.
Well, what's interesting about that is Naismith did not believe in coaching. He believed that the game should be left to the players and, a referee. That coaches just muck it up. They mechanize their players. They drill them. Players should be able to determine the outcomes of their own games. So Naismith would have loved the first 15 years of UConn basketball.
Well, don't anybody tell Dan Hurley that we don't need a coach. I want to ask you also, I thought this was super interesting. In 1934, UConn was going to go down and play, or did go down to play the Coast Guard Academy, and they had their first black recruit. A kid from New Haven was on the team, and Coast Guard wouldn't take to the court with a black player. This is in Connecticut in 1934. I was kind of amazed to find that, and it did turn out to be a big scandal at the time.
Yeah, I don't think the Coast Guard Academy was integrated until like 1965. I mean, so it's not odd, but it was a really awful day. UConn players I think they were Connecticut State College at that time. They're ready to take the court. They took the court, and Coast Guard said, no, can't play if this kid, So the UConn coach, unfortunately, kept him on the bench.
Wow, yeah.
Never gave an explanation, kept him on the bench, and all hell broke loose. There were protests on campus. It was quite a scene. Yeah.
We talked about John Wooden, 10 titles in 12 years. 95 was UCLA's last one, but he had done it earlier. Do you think that'll ever be done again? We only have a couple of seconds left, Mark, but do you think anyone will ever do that again? Not
a chance. No. In this day and age, not with portals and NILs, no. Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think UConn's got a shot.
All right. Well, UConn fans certainly hope so. Mark Mehler, thank you so much for being with us. The book is fabulous, and basketball fans should get out there and read it. Thanks for being with us here on CT25. Again, the book is called The Magnificent Seven, College Basketball's Blue Bloods. Look for it at your local bookstore. It came out just yesterday. You can also find it online at places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It is full of all sorts of great facts that you can check on, and all those teams that you're going to be seeing in your brackets when you fill them out later on today. That is CT25 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. Maybe grab a good book. You can check it out. We'll meet you back here in Studio A next Sunday morning.